So,
Last minute moves. Go, you good.
all right.
I know, right?
How y'all doing
Good
today?
to see you.
So I
How you
definitely appreciate you guys coming to Afros and Audio, and it's definitely an honor with my really good friend Al Pete to open this session. You are coming in the session, right? Because like I ain't doing it for myself. I mean, I'll do it, but you know, I don't think they want to hear me just ramble on for like an hour. How long we got? An hour and 45 minutes? How long we got?
45 minutes.
45 minutes. Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. I could, but I shouldn't. But no, seriously though, thank you so much for wanting to check out this session. I wanted to have a conversation with Al Pete about.
Oh, you got that.
Yeah, you know, we got some little swag and stuff. You know, I'm a husband of an educator, man. So you got to have like, you know, swag and gifts and stuff like that, right? So we're gonna do something a little different, right? So basically me and Pete just gonna have a conversation about storytelling and our journeys and stuff like that, a little bit nuanced from your traditional type of sessions. And so basically all of our questions are in this cup. And so basically we're gonna interview each other, just pulling questions from said cup, right? So we don't really know, well, Pete don't really know the questions, but I do. But we know the direction that we're gonna go in, right? So as Talib said, I dabble in podcasting, so there's that. And then there's Al Pete, who's an award-winning podcaster and network owner and things of that nature. You wanna say something to the people before we get started?
Yeah. First off, how y'all feeling? Y'all good? Yeah. All right. Welcome, man. I'm excited to be with my brother. Yeah.
You know,
Listen, I'm playing recorder right now. Yeah,
Right.
So I'm kind of just
yeah,
get to it.
he in production mode. But I'll say this about Pete. You know, me and Pete have been kindred spirits ever since day one.
Yeah.
When he released, Tables Might Wobble in that first season, I was like, man, this is a dude I need to rock with, because one of the things that, if you're not familiar with my work, I do nonfiction narrative podcasting, right? So it's a little bit different than your traditional interview style. And so when he dropped Tables Might Wobble, I was like, this dude, we need to work together. I don't know what that looks like, what it sounds like, but somebody need to pay us a fat ass check together. And so we need to start, you know what I'm saying, doing stuff together, right?
Yeah.
So this is the first of many collaborations. Well, it's not really the first collaboration, but it's definitely one of many collaborations moving forward. Go ahead, man.
And real quick, to speak on Dom, man, if you're not familiar with Dom, man, he's a definitely a great storyteller, has won multiple awards, recently Signal Awards, right?
Yeah, we came across six Signal Awards.
Give it up for that, round of applause for that, yeah. But no, Dom is very good in his own right. He's very detailed. I'm a very detailed, intentional, purposeful guy. So running into Dom and his work was very great. So we got a lot of stuff that we're working on together, and yeah.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I'll pull the first question, and then we'll just get the rocking and rolling from there. So let's see what we got. I think this is a good one. So collaboration plays a big role. We were just talking about this. Yep. Collaboration plays a big role in both of our creative processes. What do you look for in a collaborator, and how do you ensure that that partnership elevates the story?
So when you get to know me, I have these sections that I separate things. So you got the creator aspect and the admin aspect. I always say that. So when I'm talking, I might put it in the creator slot, or I put it in the admin slot. So from an admin slot, it's all about consistency. Like I'm just really big on consistency and making sure that, everything don't have to be right, but as long as you're showing the spirit of consistency and literally just showing up, I feel like that works for me. But from a creative side, I'm just very, like I said, intentional, purposeful. Those things that I look for.
Let me ask you a follow-up, because you run a network, right? You got several shows on the network, and you let's say you have somebody on the network that they kind of struggle with that consistency, or they struggle with that creative aspect, if you will. How do you switch from creative to admin to podcast mentor, if you will, to kind of help them with that, Mr. Professor? Because he's also a professor at Waters University, so I don't know, we mentioned that earlier, so we need to go ahead and mention that. But go ahead, brother.
I appreciate that. Yeah, professor in these streets. So
I'm gonna get him a tweed jacket with the patches and stuff eventually.
Empathy, man. I'm real big on empathy. Like, I was listening to a podcast on the way up here. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, so I was up on the way up here flying, and I was listening to Native Land podcast. Everybody familiar with Native Land? I love them, man. So they was talking about how meeting people where they are, sometimes that could be kind of offensive to the person that's needing to be met. So that perspective was like grand to me. I just started thinking about that, but I just really come with the empathy standpoint, and I'm like, all right, let me see why or what happened. Like, something might be going on in that person's life to where they can't elevate like how they want to, or I offer my assistance as well. Like, hey, can I, do you need me to do something? Do you need me to step in? You want to bounce off some ideas? Like, I meet people like that because the world don't meet people like that. And the world definitely don't meet Black people in that space either. It's like, you know what I'm saying? So I try to be I come with empathy like crazy. So that's the start. Then there's the philosophy that we talk about all the time, the grace versus growth. Mm-hmm. So the grace versus growth philosophy is like grace, you give people, you understand where they're at with things, this, that, and the third, but then you have a growth situation where it's like, all right, it's in layman's terms, you should know better. Like, you got to tighten up. So it's really a full balance of that. But for me, I'm more empathetic, man. I'm the guy that's going to be like, okay, well, they might have had a hard week with their kids. They might not have had a chance to really record, or they software broke, or whatever the case may be. So I'm thinking about those things before I'm thinking about, oh, well, we got to make moves and make things happen.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Your turn, brother.
My turn. All right,
man.
Looking forward, what do you see as the next frontier in Black storytelling through sound, and how do you hope to contribute to that evolution?
I mean, I don't think there's any, unless you're hiding under a rock, AI is here. Like, it just is, right?
Yeah.
But I think we have come from legacies of griots, legacies of storytellers. And so storytelling is just going to, just evolve from there, right? We have always had that creative gene. I think it was Chris Rock who said, we decide what's cool, right? In Black America and beyond, right? Or in America and beyond, right? And so I see us honestly telling more of our stories. I see us telling, honestly, even other stories, right? Like even stories that don't really pertain to us, right? Because I think there's this idea, at least I know I come across it a lot, that there's the whole idea we're not a monolith, this, that, and the other. But the thing is, as a Black creative, I can absolutely tell the story of an indigenous group of people's football team in Alaska. I can tell the story of rural white America, from that standpoint as well. So it's like, I don't think we necessarily have to just be exclusive to our stories. We can tell anybody's stories because we're creative like that.
For sure.
But at the same time, I don't think other people can tell our stories. Because I don't think other cultures, that's just me, I don't think other cultures have the level of empathy, like you talking about that we have. Because I know when I was working, when I work on Mental Health Rewritten, right? And that's one of the shows that I work on when I talk about addiction, trauma, behavioral health, stuff like that. I can easily tell the story of a white family going through a, generational trauma, addiction, this, that, and the other, because there's a level of empathy that I have being from the culture that I come from. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes when you're the dominant culture, you don't necessarily have that same level of empathy, which means things get lost in the sauce. So I see us as Black storytellers in this audio space being able to expand beyond just our stories. But let me be very clear, our stories are important. We need to tell them. We need to continue telling them, because if we don't tell them, we'll lose them, right? But also at the same time, we have the ability to tell other people's stories like they've been telling our stories for years. And I think we can tell them a lot better.
Yeah, real quick. So the story is somebody released a clip. First off, recipes to D'Angelo. Let's go. Let's
100%.
put one up on that tip. But I saw this video that was put out there, and apparently the captions, they was in a different language or whatever. And I immediately got kind of upset because I'm like, what person came across the pond to do this interview with D'Angelo when we've all grew up in our right minds with D'Angelo? Like we can tell the stories of D'Angelo, you know what I'm saying, without even nobody telling us what to do and say. So I say that to say I just would love for us, to tell our stories.
100%.
When it comes to Black stories, I don't want nobody else telling our stories. This is the growth part.
No, for sure.
This is the growth part. I want us to tell our stories.
And I think to that same vein, I think having a shared culture, a shared, similar background, we can pull stuff out of those stories that nobody else can. I think Denzel Washington talked about Martin Scorsese could do Crooklyn or not Robert De Niro, another white director could have done another Black whatever, but you don't know what it sounds like or smells like when the hot comb hits the back of your neck. Like that's a brand of culture you can't really teach in this, that, and the other, right? And so I think even when we do have those stories, that's why we're able to tell them better, because we have those cultural experiences that were kind of shared experience, if you will.
Right. Cool. Let me pull one.
You want to pull one?
I'm pull one again.
So we snaking this thing. Okay, that's fine.
Just
Fantasy football
it,
draft style. I got you. No problem.
In an age where anyone can start a podcast, what distinguishes artistry and audio from simply creating content?
See, so clearly I'm triggered by this.
Well, let me put this down when you break it.
Yeah, before I break the gift that we're gonna give somebody. How does one stand out? That's generally the question, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
I think it is perfectly fine and okay to be inspired by other people's art. It is. It truly is. I have no problem with that. However, what are you saying that's different? What perspective are you bringing that's different? True, I could tell you the story of Martin Luther King and the March on Washington, or I could tell you the story of the March on Washington from Ledger Smith's point of view. Ledger Smith is somebody who we pointed out on Black is America, who roller skated from Chicago to DC to get to the march. Like, what's that story, right? Again, giving you a different perspective, right? So for somebody who's getting in this game and want to stand out, okay, fine. Maybe you want to talk about XYZ pop culture thing, but give me a different angle. Because if you're just saying the same thing that the Breakfast Club said, I'll just go listen to the Breakfast Club. I don't have to listen to you. Or if you got them, those two talking points that somebody said, man, you should start a podcast, right? And then you run out of those talking points, then what, right? So I think one, you're giving your own perspective. Two, really thinking about what we're talking about, right? Really map out that story, really map out that episode, really map out the podcast as itself. One of the things I did with Mental Health Rewritten that I wish I would have done with Black is America is I created a show Bible, right? So essentially, like, this is how the show should sound. This is what it should look like. This is who the people we're going to interview for the show are going to come on. And anything that's antithetical to that is a non-starter. It just is, right? Because I think a lot of times we get in this notion of thinking virality is more important than sustainability, right? Because we're all trying to get the viral moment. We're trying to get the viral moment. We're trying to get clicks and giggles and shits and giggles and stuff like that. But I think really thinking about the content before you hit this, before you turn this microphone on, before you open your mouth, really think about that content.
Right. So I guess I come from a journalist communication standpoint.
I know where you're going with this. Go for it.
Absolutely.
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. So Don't mean to flex at all, but like I'm two things that I love a lot of things, but two things that I really love is music and like communications. Like I love how information is being shared, all that other stuff. So 2 degrees in it. So academia wise, aced it. Mental and all that stuff, passion wise, that's it. One thing that I'm big on is like facts. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like to really concrete what you got going on, please make sure that you cite your stuff. Like if you're giving information about something that you're talking about, make sure you cite it and go beyond that. You know, you could say 75% of people did this, and this, but at the end of that show, like cite that thing. Let us know where you got it from. Like cite it. Like people like us in that field, like that citing is very important. You can talk about
ChatGPT can be wrong from time to time, but continue. I'm gonna let you cook though.
Yeah, that. So yeah, that's one of the many factors for me. I feel like fact checking is like very important when it comes to your stuff. Even if you're doing something funny, man, like if you're gonna be citing somebody what they said, like do the decency to give them the credit.
Right.
Like give the people the credit that you're talking about or referencing and all that stuff, especially when we're talking about like history. Yeah. Come on, man. Like when it comes out Black history, like send us somewhere, keep the conversation going. Like you got the audio part, but continue that in the captions, you know what I'm saying? Or do a blog about it. Like continue, keep the story going, keep us in it.
And you know, that's another reason why it takes so long to release episodes of Black is America.
For sure. Yeah.
Right? Because true enough, I got this source from ABC, but I'm also going to go and see what, you know, the local paper is saying as well. And so if they're consistent, then I'll put it in the show.
For sure.
So I'm going to cite the source, but I'm also going to get other reference points that says that's similar to that particular point. So
yeah.
Is it my turn now?
Yep.
All right, let's see what we got. Both of us have been recognized with awards for our work. Beyond validation, how have those moments of recognition influenced your creative direction or your sense of responsibility as a storyteller?
So first off, this guy next to me has way more awards than I do. Since he went to
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. Six nominations from the Signal Awards. That's just Signal Awards. We ain't talking about the other awards.
I might have 5 Black Podcasting Award nominations tonight, but we ain't gonna talk about that.
Do you see that flex, y'all? Round of applause for that flex.
Just saying. Listen, I've been told I have to flex more. I gotta get out the humble bag from time to time. So.
Well, listen, it's not my sister told me a couple of weeks ago, she said it's not, and I'm kind of not saying it correctly, but she was saying like it's not necessarily a flex if it's facts.
That's true.
So
if
it's facts, then it's not a flex or a cocky or whatever. It just is what it is. And we'll see that tonight, like at the show. So validation. I'm not really big on like the validation part. That don't move me. I just want people to listen to my story and be like, all right, let me move them. And more so, I want people to look at the work that I do and feel empowered to do their work. And so when I did The Tables Might Wobble, me and Dom had plenty of conversations about that podcast because that was a period of time where I was like transitioning into like, and I still DJ, which I'm DJing Saturday night, I believe. Yeah, Saturday night, yeah, for the after party, just to throw that plug in there. And awards, but from DJing, I wanted to kind of put music and communications together, right? So that's like my thing. I'm a real big hip hop fanatic. So I wanted to let people know from a DJ standpoint, like how does that look as DJs? Because DJs, like any other job that we do, it has its pressures. So I was like, well, I want to do this NPR style thing. So I wanted to kind of do the mental aspect of it from my angle, but as well, like tell stories that so people can understand like how we really function when we DJing. Like, you know, if we're not just up there just playing music, like we literally like saving y'all lives while we up there. Like y'all depend on us to like make sure that we keep the party going. So I gotta make sure I got 10 songs ahead of the one song that's playing to keep the party going. So I wanted to bring people into my perspective, but at the same time too, like I wanted people to be like, you know what, this was inspiring. This is a story that I want to tell, or this is that, you know, tell their stories. So from that part, that does me real good when I see somebody be inspired about the work that they do. So real quick shout out, Kay, my good friend Kay, partner of Thoughts Podcast. I love her podcast. I do the audio on the podcast. So every time you hear it, that's to me doing audio work. But I just love her energy. I love her inquisitiveness. I love her questions. Like, I love how she like really values the story or whatever. And somebody is inspiring her. I do feel like BPA inspired you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see how that works? Like, and I'm like, I'm a part of this community. I'm working on her stuff. I feel like I'm being an addition to like her work. That's my validation. Like that makes me feel great that she feels like, okay, I'm gonna start season 5 and I got it laid out and I'm helping with her from an audio standpoint, or if we just have a question about how I should do this and do that.
You know, this kind of relates back to a previous question, right? About being distinctive and stuff like that. So many people don't know this in this room, that there was a podcast that I did 300 episodes that predates Black is America called The Startup Life. Business show, 300 plus episodes. It's still sitting out there. I'm probably gonna repurpose it some kind of way, right? But when the pandemic happened, everybody, they mama, the cat, the neighbor's cat, the dog, you know, microphones was clearly on fucking sale because everybody got into podcasting, right? And you know, for some, they probably need to go off sale, but that's neither here nor there. That's another session.
Right.
But it was at that moment I knew everybody was getting the podcast. Okay, I want to keep doing this, but I got to switch the style up. And that's when I went to that NPR style of show, like the storytelling, nonfiction narrative, stuff like that. And that's where Black is America came from, right? And so I remember doing the very first episode, John Fox. If you don't know, John Fox was a military person, Lieutenant John Fox, who was surrounded by Germans in a tower, and there was no way for him to get out. Like, he knew he was not getting out of that situation. So he called coordinates to draw military fire on himself, killed himself and 100 other Germans. And they was able to recapture that city and this, that, and the other. I remember when I played that pivotal moment for Kendra, and she's like, what the fuck have you created? What the fuck have you created? In a good way, right? And so I knew there, okay, like this is gonna make an impact. And so when we talk about validation and we talk about, you know, critical acclaim, those things are nice, right? I you know, X amount of awards, this, that, and the other. But when you get stuff like that, or when you get stuff like when she plays Black is America in her classroom, my wife's an education consultant, so she goes to different schools and this, that, and the other. And she'll play Black is America in her classroom. And at first the students are like, you know, they playing around, they ain't really paying attention. Then they start getting to the story. And then one kid asked, did we really do that? And my wife was like, yeah, we really did that. And so the critical acclaim is great, but that impact that you have, or even working on Mental Health Rewritten with the behavioral health shows that I work on, and somebody listens to the episode and then, you know what, I'm gonna go check myself in the treatment. Like, that's worth more any download, any check, any award that I can ever create, because like, that's what we want to do. And I get it. When it comes to awards and monetization, it's part of the game. We all trying to play it. It is what it is. But when you can make an impact, like somebody just say, you know what, I think there's something wrong with me, and I listened to this podcast and it showed a path to where I can go get some help, let me go check myself in the treatment. That means more to me than anything else.
And real quick before we move forward, so like for me, I'm like very detailed when it comes to sound, when I'm in my audio engineer part. So if you're listening to an episode and it's a thoughtful moment, like if the interviewer is asking the interviewee like a question and it makes them think, like from an audio standpoint, I will leave some of that air in there. Like when you think about like think if I took that air out, it would seem like a run-on type of sentence. But like it brings you more into you're like, oh, what? He stopped thinking, like, what? Oh, okay. So from an audio engineer standpoint, I try to be on that tip, and that helps me too. That validates like me saying, okay, well, this works. Because sometimes you get in your head to think, is this gonna work or is it gonna be accepted? This, that, and the third. But like when somebody say, man, when he asked that question and it was that long pause, Like I'd be in the cut, like, oh yeah, and I left that long pause in there for a reason. We brought them in. So.
Because it's a human experience that we're capturing via the audio, right? And so you want to have that confliction, you want to have that unease, you want to have that vulnerability, right? And so if you just go around like take this out, take that all out, take that long pause out, it does sound a little programmatic and robotic and stuff like that, but we're trying to create a human experience in the form of audio. And so I'll never forget, now we can move on. I think some of the best sound design I ever heard was no sound design at all. There was a podcast I listened to. This gentleman was recounting his experience storming Normandy, the beaches of Normandy, right? You could hear the fear in his voice like it was 80 years before. Like you could hear it, the crack in his voice, the quiver of his lip, like you could hear it. Like no sound design was needed because everything he was describing, you can envision it. And that, what we like to call the theater of the mind, was completely activated. But what if they took that stuff out because, it ain't pristine, it ain't perfect, right? And I think that's the beauty of storytelling in the form of audio, because like, even if there's video, and I know video, YouTube video, blah, 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 yes, yakety smackety, right? But the thing is like, when I give you video, the image is static. It's already there. It's already predetermined for you. But when you just listen to audio, now your imagination is running wild, right? Like, and I think that's a little bit more, I think that's a more diverse and better experience than having the image created for you. That's just me though.
And plus, I don't see how y'all be watching these videos and the audio be trash. The audio be some trash.
Go cook. Go cook, because I know you want to get on this.
I ain't gonna cook. I'm just saying, no, y'all be watching the videos and the audio be trash. I be like, man, y'all gotta get y'all life right. Like, the audio is important, man. I mean, so even if you do have that component of the video, if the audio is scratchy or you see how my microphone going out like that? Like, I'm sitting here trying not to like speak like a preacher in here. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want my audio being cut off like that. Because I want y'all to hear what I'm saying. I want y'all to understand that. You did?
You're going to keep that mic high because I know you're going to cook on this one.
Uh-oh.
Podcasting can sometimes feel like a solitary pursuit, yet community keeps us thriving. What does being part of an active and supportive podcasting community mean to you? And how have you seen it transform your work or perspective?
All right. Let's do a time check.
It is 10:28.
10:20. Okay. We got plenty of time.
We good.
Listen, I'm real big on community, y'all. For the people that know me, you should feel it. You should feel it when I type it. You should feel it when I talk to you or whatever the case may be. Like, I'm real big on community, and the people that are just getting to know me now, you'll learn between now and like Sunday, I'm real big on community. That's very, very important, man. Like, us black folks, we need community. I mean, we should. Pete, don't preach.
No, preach. Let's go.
Listen, community is very important. Yeah, community is very important, and I just don't like when motherfuckers be throwing that community word around like it's a goddamn hobby and shit. Like, this ain't no situation where, like, I'm not in a situation where I'm like, I just don't have time to play with my community, man. If my brethren or my people need help, I'm here to help as much as possible. And another thing too, it need to be like the give take situation. Like, I don't like people that come in communities that just be taking and taking and taking. Find something to give back to. Y'all know this world is crazy as the living daylights right now. You know what I'm saying? So one of the main things that we need is community. And when it comes to storytelling and when it comes to our storytelling, we need community to like support us and validate and distinguish us. So community has always been important to me. And I feel like the community part, I'm on the community side where this is where I will probably be the admin part of it. Like, if I need to be a community leader or something like that, I'm fine with that. Like, if we need to do once a month where we get in on Zoom and just talk about how y'all feeling. Y'all good? Y'all straight? Y'all breathing today? Y'all drunk y'all water today? Y'all not minding y'all minding y'all business, right? Like, if I need to do that, then I'm all about that. But it does help when the community pours back into me in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Because we always be in these communities, and then you have the admin not being, cheered off as well. So when it comes to the podcasting space and when it comes to the storytelling space, I mean, yeah, you need community. It's very important, man. It's very important. And I know for me, I'm just a rider when it comes to the community, man. And I just don't like all that. I don't like all that fuck shit when it comes to people like playing around with community.
Well,
I just don't
people
like
coming in like, getting checks off the community and stuff like that.
I don't like that capitalist shit, man. I don't like that. You keep that shit away, man. Listen, I understand things run with money.
I'm gaslighting Pete right now. Go ahead.
I know you listen, fill it up. But listen, I understand the money part is a factor or whatever, but you need to come with grace. You need to come with empathy. Right. You need to come with understanding. A lot of people ain't around here trying to make no money. People just want to get their stories and they shit off.
Right.
And that's enough. But when we lead with like that facetious stuff and you want to be a culture, vulture, or whatever the case may be. I have a problem with that, and that exists a lot when it comes to like our communities, man. Our communities, meaning Black communities, as well as like the podcasting space. So I'm very protective of like Black podcasting. I'm very protective of that community.
For sure, I have definitely benefited from this community, particularly Black women in this space. Lisa, Crystal Hill, my wife, Faye Mickens, like they have guided. Anna Deshawn, they have they're like, real quick story. I remember the first, and I think I've shared this a few times, but I share it here again. I remember the first time I asked Crystal Hill to mentor me. If you don't know Crystal Hill, last year's 2024 Legend Award winner. I was like, Crystal, you taking on mentees, this, that, and the other? She's like, yeah, let's do it, right? And so I had won like 4 communicator awards, right? And I was like, yeah, I've done this, and the other. And she was like, oh, that's cute. I mean, it's no Webby or an Ambi or a Signal, but I mean, that's cute though. And so Crystal knew exactly what buttons to push when it comes to Dominic, because she knows I'm competitive, right? So she knew exactly what buttons to push to get me on those stages, to push me into those moments and stuff like that. But like when it comes to community, BPA, Afros Audio, Black Podcasting Awards, Dom wouldn't be where he is now without it. Mm-hmm. And so that's super important.
Same. I mean, even from a DJ standpoint, like, what was it, the first time I DJ'd up here?
2023.
Yeah, man, like it was interesting, man. Like after I DJ'd, like the next day we had like, our sessions or whatever, and then everybody's like, oh my God, like this is great. I don't know, it just seemed like the energy kind of got stronger, you know what I'm saying? And it made me feel a lot better walking around. And I was cool from the jump, but I guess after I added the DJ party, me DJing the party, like I felt like I gave a lot of energy. So like everybody came in wanting to learn, everybody wanted to listen. Like it was just a good energy around it. And I'm like, well, damn, I didn't realize that DJing to that degree, to people that I didn't know. I was DJing in front of people I didn't know. So it was different from like when I'm in Jacksonville, I'm DJing in front of people, I'm like, oh, I'm in Baltimore, so they probably like that DC music, New York music, maybe some Atlanta, some old school. I'm kind of like meeting people. And I obviously I touched everybody to where the energy was there, and we left feeling like, okay, we in community. And I really feel like 6 months after that, everybody was on their IGs, was talking to people, and just kept that community stuff going,
But I think that speaks to what you were saying earlier about how DJ saves lives in the sense of like keeping the spirits up and stuff like that. I know my spirit was up when you played Dolph. I know I was on one after that, but that's neither there. I'm gonna let you pull one more question, man, and then we're gonna take Q&A from the audience, because they probably tired of hearing us fucking talking.
Y'all good? Y'all straight? All right. Let's see. Storytelling often reflects both who we are and where we come from. How has this personal journey shaped the kind of stories you choose to tell and how you tell them?
So when I was a kid, my mom read me bedtime stories, right? Like she read to us every night, right? And when she did that, she was being, at the time, a cringe mom, but looking back, a phenomenal mom. Because she'll read the stories and then she'll, like, if there's a transition, so she's sound designing the stories that she's reading to me and my little sister.
Yep.
And I'm like, Mom, you're doing the most right now. Like, why are you doing this? And then here we are, 30 years later. What is Dom doing for a living?
Man, listen.
Fucking chicken his ass off, you know, trying to get people to understand. But I think the storytelling, it starts with my mom reading those bedtime stories, right? And that's something I never forgot. I'll even go one further. In high school, right? Mm-hmm. Hated English with a passion, right? Miss Metter, Miss Owen, Miss Patterson were my English teachers all through high school.
That boy knew the names of the teachers, boy.
Listen. And of course they was like, Dom, just go through the process. Like, I'm not gonna use this shit. Nobody cares about fucking rising actions and climaxes and expositions and none of that bullshit. I'm not doing nothing with that later on.
Right.
But here we are again, 20 years later. Like, I remember I was writing a script because they was like, humor me, Dominic, just humor me. And I'm writing it like, fuck. Them teachers got me.
Yep.
And then on top of that, I married a teacher, and what did she major in? Fucking English. So I couldn't escape it. But even to this day, my wife, you know, helps me out, and she cracks jokes because she was in those same English classes,
right.
This, that, and the other. But when it comes from my mom and school and stuff like that, all of that has shaped Blackest America, Mental Health Rewritten, the B word, all of those things. And I can't deny that.
Yeah. Kendall's going to laugh when she hears this part. The part that you just said. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to make sure that audio clip gets to her. So.
Damn, Pete.
We're recording on this, and we're recording on that.
Cut the feed, man. Cut the feed.
All right, for me, so when I'll start here and then go back, but like Tables Might Wobble, you know, it's about DJs, right? So it would be crazy not to have like some type of ambiance. At least if you're listening to a Tables Might, like a DJ podcast, like somewhat in the podcast, you need to hear some scratching, right? Like if you don't hear scratching in the Tables Might and a DJ, it would be kind of another void or whatever. Right. So between that and then the fact of me just understanding, like, well, I was just always a creative person growing up. So like all these like ambient sounds around me, it would just be important to me, and it just kind of embedded in me. But so that's where I've always just like sounds and ambiance or whatever. It's always been embedded in me growing up. Like, you know, you always associate a certain sound with a certain moment, a thing or whatever. But I was like hyper on it. Mm-hmm. So, but to my people, think about when y'all watching like a TV show. We'll say Law and Order for the moment. Like when when Law and Order, what's the dun 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 dun, like when you hear that, what's happening? Like it's transitioning to another scene, right? Think about like when somebody's crying or whatever. They're not playing no Dolph. They playing, you know, melodic type music or whatever. Right. So it's those type of sounds that I, you know, if I want to inflict a certain type of emotion. Yeah. If I want to inflict the emotion, I'm making sure that sound is there. So I know how I felt when I was sad, or I know how I felt when I was excited or whatever. Like if I'm working out, I'm listening to Jeezy. But like if I'm being reflective, I'm bumping the Roots. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. So yeah, I think it's simple like that. And I just applied it to my storytelling.
And I think again, this speaks to the power of audio. I remember taking anybody familiar with the website Masterclass, where these people who are experts, what they do. I did Hans Zimmer's Masterclass. So if you know Hans Zimmer, he's done a whole bunch of different like soundtracks and stuff, right? He was explaining how he did the soundtrack for, I believe it was The Dark Knight. And he was saying that like, he watched the movie, started making the music. And so the sound he made for Batman, if it was incomplete. He purposely made the song incomplete. The reason being is because Batman is a vigilante. He's not an all-out hero. So you can't give him the complete hero's journey or hero's song, right? Because he's not a complete hero. And so I think when we think about our sound design or our music for our shows, they need to be, to Pete's point, intentional, right? True enough, you could have Dolph playing in the background and I'm not gonna be upset with you. But if you're talking about a traumatic event, should Dolph be playing in the background? Probably not, right? And so I think a lot of times we miss opportunities because we just like that song, but that song doesn't necessarily match the emotion and the venue of that particular moment.
Yeah, like your purpose, your why, all that stuff. It don't match none of that.
Right.
You got to make sure that it matches.
Because like if I didn't have the right music or emotional tone with a particular song, that gentleman wouldn't have checked himself into treatment. I don't think so, because it wouldn't hit the same.
Right.
So that's just me. So we'll go ahead and shut it down, man. We got to get some Q&A here.
Yeah, 5 minutes or so. Yeah. Anybody got any questions, comments, thoughts?
Yes, ma'am. Since you asked the first question, I'm gonna give you this right here. Again, I'm a husband of an educator, so I know you got to give engagement, and swag and stuff like that.
Well, I ain't got no gifts, but if you come to the after party, you can request a song. And I'll play your song. No, I said she can. She can do it. None of y'all, nah. All right, so the challenge is to get into this space. I don't think it was a challenge to me.
When you say get into the space, you mean like with a signed deal or just doing it, just doing it?
Oh,
for sure. Listen,
well,
if you want to go?
Well, real quick. I know when I met Dom, I was just browsing on Clubhouse. And I stumbled over a group, the room said, what was it? The Content Creators Challenge, Podcast Challenge. So I went in there and I'm like, what's up? And I meet all these people and we talk to this day. Like, shout out to Lisa, Crate, shout out to Square, Dom. Like, we all been talking Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays on Clubhouse. Jen, Sambaza.
Yeah.
But every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we talk. Like, we've been doing this for what? About 3 or 4 years?
Yeah.
But it just happened to be stumbled over there, and then we just having regular conversations, and we all listen to each other's stories, and we all support each other in whatever ways that happen. So for me, it just kind of happened, which I'm thankful for because it's difficult to find spaces like this. So
I think remembering who's listening for your message. I think that's important because I think in this age of views and clicks and downloads, we feel like, oh, if we ain't getting X amount or whatever, then what's the point? I think when you start with a purpose and the intentionality of like, who needs to hear this message? I think that's the most important thing, right? And even if you're sitting there by yourself, just envision that person, envision that avatar. What are they doing? What are they looking for, right? Yep. I think that's super important. But also in addition to that, people like to say be consistent, but consistent is in the eye of the beholder. I sure as shit ain't consistent by standards that people like to put out podcast episodes every week. I'm just not. But when Black is America drops though, you're gonna have an experience and you're gonna be like, that was well worth the wait. I focus on being consistently good.
Yeah.
Not necessarily just consistent as far as like putting out content.
For sure. All right, we got one more. We'll take one more question, and we'll stick around, right?
Yeah. If for some reason we don't get to a question,
we got 5 minutes.
We got 5 minutes. Okay.
Thank you. So if you can speak to how you have both navigated the terrain around getting sponsors and how sponsorship and your art of storytelling may have collided or.
I don't seek out sponsors, personally. My route to monetization is in the form of trying to get a network deal, right? So that's not my cup of tea. But what I do, however, is like have a deck that my marketing person put together. So that way, if sponsors do come around and want to get into that point, then we already have price points and a deck for them to look at, right? So Faye Mickens will be here this weekend. She's the person who works on the marketing for all of our shows. I can introduce you to her. She's speaking at the brunch as well. So that's a person you definitely want to talk to. I'm just trying to make dope shit.
Can I ask why is it not your
Ooh.
Why is not my strategy?
You said that's not your jam.
I want to answer that too, but go ahead.
Well, for me, I've always been in the aspect of like, I'm trying to make, my goal is to be one of the greatest storytellers in podcasting to ever live. That's my intentionality. I didn't get into this for monetization. Now, if I create a product that the market values, cut my check. But at the same time, my purpose is to create impact. And I know I need notoriety and things of that nature. But my goal is to be a great storyteller and make impact. But I'm not opposed to monetization. I monetized the startup life, years ago. And what I did was I honestly, if this helps, I started with local businesses around the area, right? And like promoting their businesses with their car dealerships and stuff like that. And then we started to go out as the show got bigger, go to like national people like Your Better Helps and stuff like that. So I like to, and my wife's gonna hear this and she's gonna roll eyes as soon as I say it, 'cause I say it all the time. Inside out approach. Start locally and then slowly go outward as far as like national brands and stuff like that. Or hire Faye Mickens.
So real quick, I know we're coming down on time, but for me, my sponsorship is when I do audio, when I edit podcasts, when I do the audio engineering part. So a lot of people heard Tables Might Wobble. Like that's what happened when I won the award. People was like, oh, well, let me listen to this. And they were like, this sounds great. Me DJing. So they was like, okay, well, they kind of put two and two or whatever together. Was like, okay, well, I want to hire him to do the audio work. So I edit a lot of podcasts. So that money I get from that's like my sponsorship. And I just put it in, I put that back to the network. So I don't have to worry about that. Now, again, if somebody come and approach me, I got my price list. If it's a value to the market, yes, of course, pay me. But my value is giving back to the other folks, man. And then they just be willing to pay me.
And honestly, I've had more conversations letting people come to me than me going to them.
For sure.
Because I focused on getting the content right first. And then over time with the notoriety and the critical acclaim, then XYZ, network say, hey, let's have a conversation. Or XYZ sponsors say, hey, let's have a conversation. So I personally focused on the product first and then let them come to me. That strategy doesn't work for everybody because I know everybody's trying to monetize. I get that. I decided to be a little patient and let them come to me. So.
And we just want to make dope shit, man. Like at the end of the day, we just want to make dope shit.
But you said something really quickly. I think is think about also not necessarily monetizing the show, but monetizing the skill set that creates the show, to your point.
For sure.
Whether that be script writing, whether that be sound design, whether that be all types of things. So that's something else you can do to get that monetization money. So.
Yep. All right, well, we appreciate y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed it. We'll be sticking around to answer some questions.
Absolutely.
See some stuff, but thank y'all so much.
Thank y'all.
Good morning.
How was that, Pete?
Huh?
How was that, man?
Oh, shit. Come on, man. You already know it.
All right, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Shamiko Reed, and